In the last lectures, we have studied about different terminologies of what is a programming, and we have seen how to write a basic code in C++. Then we see what are if and if else statement, how to do programming with them. Then we see about something, a bit knowledge about loops, the switch statements, and how to do programming with that. So, switching to the next part of the programming is the OOP. OOP stands for Object Oriented Programming. So, we can say that it is the advanced feature of our programming. Like it takes the programming to another level. Here, where in the last lectures, we have seen that when we use functions, we do not need to write the same code again and again. Here in OOP, OOP provides us the facility. It is not a programming language. It is the advancement of a programming language. Here, by using objects and classes, we do programming. What are objects and classes? We will get know after some time. Now, what does this OOP will do? This OOP will, instead of using variables, it will create an object to store every kind of data there. And it help us to reuse our code again and again. And there are many benefits. So let's deep dive in what is this OOP and how we will do programming with that later on. So what is object oriented programming? As I mentioned, that it allows to write a program in the form of objects and classes. So it is a technique to develop a software. Now there are not every language will provide the feature of object oriented programming. Some of can be C++. You can do object oriented in Java, then Elf and Smalltalk. No doubt, you can also do that with Python, JavaScript. Many are there. But for now, to get start, we will use this C++. Now, what are the objects? Like object is an entity. Like what is an entity? A thing. Nothing but a name. You can take it as you see that whenever you take a box and put some item in that. So that box, you can call that object, and the items that you are putting in that box will be your data and functions that a object will hold. So in summary, you can say that object is a work as a container that will contain your functions and variables. In the last lecture, where we have studied the basics of programming, we have seen that we were formally creating variables and storing data in that. But in OOP, we will use objects to create and store that variable. The object will have the ability to store variables and data types or functions, everything in it. So let's see some examples of object. The object you can take as a container, right? So object, you can say a person. Let's say a person can be an object. Object can be anything. You can any noun which will have some properties, you can have some object. Object contains two things. First one is the property and the second one is the function. Like here in the example we will see, like vehicles such as car, truck, etc. It will be your object. Let's consider it is an object. Now, what will be its property? Maybe its, you can say components will be the properties. It will be, let's talk about a person. Now, person is an object. What will be the properties of a person? It can be the name, it can be the age, it can be the weight, it can be the address. Now, what a function a person can do? A person can talk, a person can eat, sleep. So these will be the functions, and the properties will be the name and age. So that is what a object will do. We will define a object, and in that object, here the properties you can take as the variables, and what these variables will do will be the function. Like here in the properties of object, if you can see, here is the object car. Now, what will be the property of a car? Its model, its color, its price, its engine power. This will be the properties. Now, what a function this car object can do? So, as we see, this car can start, this car can stop, return, reverse, accelerate. So, everything a car can do will be the object. So, in object-oriented programming, what we will do, we will define objects to perform programming. So, now the question is where these objects are formed. So, we have studied that in OOP, we will do everything in object. So, just like the functions and data is contained in an object, means an object is called a container to hold these two things. Now, we need something to hold this object to, where these objects are created. The second term is the classes. Means the classes will be used to create these objects. So, if we see, this is a class. Like here, see, this is a class. Means, for example, what will be the syntax? We will do some real world example in the next session. For now, we will just know what is this OOP, classes and functions. So here you can see clearly the syntax for defining a class will be, you will write the class, then the any name you will like to give that. So here as I call that the name of the class will be the test. Now these are the objects, these three. The data types where I have created, these are the objects. So the class will hold the objects. Here you can see we have defined the variables. We can also define the objects too. See, the class is defined there. To call this class, we will use the objects. So it might be a bit confusing, but it will be clear when we will start do something. In the next section, we will see some practical examples while performing this OOP. So this is the basic concept of OOP. Here we will work with classes. Basically, in the previous lecture, we have seen that how we can write a simple code. But here, with the help of classes, how we can simplify our work and minimize the effort of writing the code again and again on the basis by using the objects and classes. Simple, a class is nothing but a collection of variables and functions. Then, to call these variables and function, we will use this object. Now, you can easily link that object will contains the function and data types. So these are the functions. Here, these are the functions. This is the in function. This is the out function. And these are the variables. So these all are created in class. Now, just to call this class, we will use an object. We will create this object of class. Like here, we have created the name of the class was test. And I have created the object of this class. So what the object will do? Object will use to call these classes. Similarly, another thing, the most important thing in OOP will be that the classes will created outside the main function, not in the main function. In the previous lectures, we have seen that everything was done in the main function. But now in the OOP, only the objects will be created and the object will be called these classes. Everything will be done in this class, and after when we want to execute them, we will call them in this main function. So this was the basic concept of OOP. What, how? Now you can see, if we compare our previous code from this object oriented programming, you can see the length of the code is very short here. There are only a minimum line of code. So it is the benefit of using OOP that it will minimize your number of line of codes. By using this, it will provide you a A's. No doubt, it will be a bit confusing in the start that how we are going to do that and how the classes will made, what will be the need of object. Uh, it's quite simple. So after letting know about that, we will you will mm, able to master the skills and able to write the code using OOP. So that was the OOP. Now we will see some characteristics of OOP. So why? What are the benefits or what are the characteristics of using this object-oriented programming? So first thing is, here the object-oriented programming emphasis on data rather than the procedure. So here what it will do, it will not see the procedure, how the things will done, how you are adding. For example, you want to multiply two numbers, means if let's say you want to build a calculator, and in OOP, there is not important that how you are multiplying two numbers, how you are adding two numbers, how you are dividing something. The thing here only will matter the data, means the classes you are going to make, means how you are calling that classes using some object. So here OOP will only emphasis on data rather than the procedure. Then we have studied about objects, that object will represent the entities and encapsulate, means it will collect them, combine them into a single space, like both the data, means the attributes we have seen, and the functions as we have seen, it will combine them together at a single place. Now, what are the some of the characteristics of object? Is the attributes we have seen them, means the name, the age. If a person is an object, the properties will be the name, age, weight, etc. And what that function a person will perform will be the method, behavior, or the function. So let's take another example of object here. If I say your phone is a object, now what will be the characteristics of phone? Its display, the graphics, the operating system that is going to run will be the characteristics of phone. Now what are the functions can be? It can use to do some calls. It can be used to send emails, messages. So that can be the function. You can make object of anything, means you can make object of any noun here, and then on the basis of that you can do some programming on that. Then the next of its advantages, data structures are designed using object. Now what is this term data structure? We have studied the arrays. Now in the previous lecture, you get a bit of knowledge about arrays. Data structure is nothing but it is used to store your data into a form. Like we have seen arrays, means if you have to store a large number of data, means with the same data type having integers. Like for example, I ask you to store the data of 10 students and display them. Now where you will store? How the program will know that I have to store? The program does not have its own memory. For the sake of storing things, we use arrays, a linked list, or you can say these two are mainly, or stack. These three are called the data structures that are used to store your data, but mainly arrays are used. Just now, as I told you, the array can only store the data of the same type. Like You want to store the data of integers, means it can only store the data for single type. You cannot store one float and four integers. If you want to store, you can only store the integers there. So data structure is nothing but just a storage medium to store your data. We have three data structures: array, linked list, stacks, and queues. Okay, so these all data structures are also designed using objects. Means the objects will allow you to create that data structure. Like for example, if we called a class person, then the attributes like name, age, address, etc. Will be the attributes, and we can create multiple objects of each just to represent that person. Now the data structures can also implement by using this. Now we will do some real world examples in the next section. First, we will just know a bit about the characteristics of this. If you have any question of OOP, or if nothing is not clear to you, let me know, because this is the most crucial concept. Uh, and on the basis of that, you will create a program in your assignment tasks. So if you have any questions regarding OOP, let me know. So in the characteristics, code can be used in OOP, means you can reuse through inheritance. Now, let's see something about inheritance. What is inheritance? So you have studied function. What that function was doing, we were just creating the code once, and after calling it again and again, you have seen that we were able to get the results again and again. The same thing is the inheritance. So what this inheritance will do, you can allows the programmer to use the existing code to create a new program. You have written a program that can be used to calculate the average. Now you are going to create a program that will on the basis of average will show the result. Now instead of calculating the average again, you can inherit your old program and integrate or merge it into your new program. So instead of writing that long code again, simply what you will do, you will just grab that code and inherit in your new code. So that's what the inheritance will do. It allows a programmer to reuse its old code to generate something new. So with OOP, by the help of inheritance, you can create new classes or new code and just to write that. So this is another advantage or characteristics of using OOP. So we have seen what is inheritance. It will allow you to reuse the code. Then the next thing is data is hidden and cannot be accessed by the external function. So whenever you browse through different websites, so you will only see the UI of that website. You are not able to see the programming interface, now means the backend coding of that website. So that is what our uh, OOP will help you to do by using encapsulation. Means you have seen a capsule, like you will see only the outer body of a capsule. The medicine or powder inside is hidden from you. So it is the encapsulation is similar to that. Means it will hide the coding details from the user, and you will only see the interface. For example, if I show you, you can see this PowerPoint here. You don't know how this is created. With the help of what logic the software is created. You can only see the functions, and you can only know how I can use that, how I can do some work with that. So this is the characteristics of OOP, that with the help of encapsulation, the data is hidden and you can only see the outer interface that will be only visible to you. Now, simply, if you can view my screen, this is simply you can say a Google login area, and this interface is displayed in front of you. So you don't know how it is created. If I only click if I inspect it, now you can see these are all the details that are hidden from the user. This is all the backend coding of this site, that how it is created. Look, so with the help of encapsulation, these things, this all the code written here will be hidden from you, and you will only see the interface that is running in front of you. So this is encapsulation, that you can only view the interface, and how that interface is created will be hidden from you. So the next thing, data and functions can be easily added. Yes, it is very easy for you to add the data and functions. Like in the example, in the previous example, I have showed you that with the help of classes, in the same class, that class was containing the variables. That same class was also creating the functions. And by creating objects, you were calling that classes. So it is the characteristic of OOP that you can easily add classes and functions in that. Now, we will see some advantages. Now, these were the characteristics of using the classes or objects. Now, we will see what are the advantages of OOP. So, code is modular and therefore improve troubleshooting. What is meant by modular? Means it will be in the form of modules. Here in the example of is it was in the form of modules, in the form of small pieces. Here you can see, if I show you this, look, this is a class called mark. So this is a module. Okay. A module is small piece of code. Then in this module, there are two different functions that are used to perform something. Look, this. So this is in the form, we can say that in OOP, the data is in the form of modules. So it will easy for us. Look, for average, there is another function, and for summing the number, there is another function. But previously, we were doing all the same things in the main function. Means in the previous lecture, you have seen through. But here, you will made small modules, look, small functions, and you will compile everything in a class. And like here, with by creating an object, we will call them. Object-oriented programming, the code is in the form of module. So if any error will occur, I can simply and easily remove that error and find that. The next thing is the code can be reused. As I told, the previous code that we have made can be reused easily with the help of inheritance. Like we have a class called vehicle. Now there are different kind of vehicles like truck, motorcycles, cars. You can, but all have some common attributes because they are vehicles. What a vehicle will do? It will take you to your destination, whether it is a car, whether it is a motorcycle or a truck. They will carry the load and drop you at your destination. So by using inheritance, instead of rewriting the common attributes and behavior, you will share that type of vehicle. So this is what the inheritance will do. For example, the car will also start and stop. The motorcycle will also start and stop. These are the functions. So instead of writing the same function for the truck, for the motorcycle individually, what you will do, you will inherit that function. So in this way, by using inheritance, you can reuse your code. The next advantage here is greater flexibility to polymorphism. So polymorphism, basically our OOP works on four things. The first one is encapsulation. Second thing is abstraction. Third one is inheritance. And the fourth term is polymorphism. So in the coming lectures, we will study in detail inheritance and polymorphism. But for now, polymorphism means that it can be composed into different things. For example, if I say that you have just like clay, let's take an example of clay. You can make any shape, anything with the help of clay. Similarly, the same thing a polymorphism will do. Polymorphism will allows you to create a program in such a way that it can behave in many forms. Like you can take an example of a calculator. What a calculator will do. It can also add, it can also subtract, it can also multiply, it can also divide, percentage, everything it can be do. But what is it? It is just a calculator. So it is a calculator, but it can behave in different forms. So that what's a polymorphism will do. It will allows you to create a program that can behave in multiple ways. So this is the basic concept of polymorphism, that it will allows you to create a program that can behave in multiple ways. So then there can be method overriding, overloading, many are there. We will see in detail later. Then effective problem solving through natural approach. Yes, you can break down why it is easy to use OOP over the simple programming. As you see, we can create classes. Means if I have a problem to create a calculator, okay, what I will do? I will made a class that will call sum. In that sum class, I will create a function to add numbers. Then I will create another class called division. That division class will create a function. We will have a function that will divide the number. Similarly, I will create subclasses for everything. And then by the help of object, I will call them. So I have break down the greater problem into smaller parts. So it is the advantage of using object-oriented programming that you can break down the complex problem into smaller parts so that you can easily use them or easily modify or define them. So this is the object-oriented programming, and we have studied inheritance. Now encapsulation. I have told you about this, that it will help you to bind the data and method and hide them from the external access. Now you have seen when I have opened that site, you don't know where to get the source code of that. What is happened at the back end of that? You just see the interface. Means just like a capsule, you can see the outer surface and you don't know what is hidden in the inner surface. Similarly, the encapsulation will hide the source code or data details from the user, and you can only see the interface of that. So any question till now? Uh, it was just the basic concept of OOP. We will implement it in the next lecture. So any questions you have in your mind, let me know. So I have opened the IDE, uh, the div. You can also use C free 5 or anything you want. So we will write a simple program. What that program will do, we will write a class called marks with the three data types that will store the three numbers, means marks. Then these three marks will input into the function called int, and the sum will calculate them, and the average function will do the average. So how these all things is performed? First, we will see the basic body of the OOP, how the class is created, how the members are declared, everything about that. So, first we will write the library as before. Now, instead of the main function, I will define the class. For example, we will declare a class. For that, the syntax for writing a class is you have to write the class, then the name you want to give. For example, I will call this class test. Then, always you have to write the public first, like this. Public means whatever you are declaring or the members you are or the data types you are given will be accessed by every data type of member with semicolons. Then this is the body of the class. You have to write a semicolon here, then the public, and then the name of the class. Now, here you will, whatever you want to do means I will declare a variable called int n. Simple. Then I will define a function. We have studied a function. What a function will do? A function is used to perform something, and by calling that, we get the output. I'll call this function in. Now, here, what I will do, I will ask the user to enter a number. Cout, simple. We will write enter a number like this. Then cin and function ended. Means we have write a function. Whenever we call this function, it will enter a number from the user. Now, as I told you that in classes, we can make variables and functions. Now we will create another function called out. This function will display that number. We will say cout the number is n and l semicolon. So this is a class that we have made. Now, how we will get the output? So this is the syntax or a simple way of declaring a class or making a class. First, what you will do? You will write the class, this reserved keyword class. Then you will give any name to your class. You will write public. Then if you want to declare variables, you can declare. If you want to make functions in it, you can make functions. You can make as many functions and variables in it. Now the question is how we will get the output here. Now, I have told you that In the second step, this is the first step. You have defined a class. Now, what you will do? Outside this class, we will write the main function. I will write void main like this. Then, in the main function, what I will do? To call this class, I will create the object. Now, how to create the object? First, you will write the name of the class, that was test. After that, you will write the name of the object. For example, I write obj. Now, I have created this object, semicolon. Then, I want to call these functions. You have to write the name of the object, then the dot. As I have told you that the object is the container that contains the variables and the functions. Now, all these things belongs to this object. So I will call the object function in like this. Then with the function out that is written here, it will run like this. So the program closed. So let's see what is the output and then I will explain it to you. So there is an error. Let's see what's the error here. I think we have declared a so what's the error C1 was not declared in the scope O. What we have not done, we haven't put a semicolon here. So let's see if there is any other error. So let's again run. Again, there is a problem. See, in was not declared in the O. We haven't used the using namespace. So namespace std, you have always have to write using namespace std because it is very important because after the you can say evolution of C++, so it is another you can say feature that you have to write using namespace std before writing the program. So I will write using namespace std semicolon. It is not wanted. So here instead of void, I will write in a lot of errors. Now on the line 11, which is not declared. So it is containing a lot of errors here. I don't know why it is happening. So we will clear it one by one. So by using different compilers, you can face different kind of problems here. So it is a better practice just to write a clean code so you can perform it well. Run this simple program, then we will add the technique of OOP in it. Let's see what it will gives the output or not. So it is giving output. Now it is running smoothly. Now we will add OOP in it. So here we will write that class again. The class, and then we write the name of the class. Here public, then int n, a variable, then a function display. We will only write a simple function first. Then we will add multiple functions in it. And we will display the number here. And then in the main function, simply we will create the object of the test class, and object is going to call the display function like this. Now see what happens. Now it's working smoothly. So I will enter 7 and it will display 7. So this is the basic body structure of the O. That first you have to create a class. In that class, you have to write this public, right? Means you will write this public first. Then you will declare as much variables as you can. This public means whenever you will inherit into another class, you can easily inherit them. Then you will make functions as much as you can. So I will show you one thing why we are using this. Now, you can say that in the simple function, we were also doing this. Now, I'll show you something more greater. Now, this object can call one time this function. Now, what if I can create another object with for this? Like if I create test obj1, another object I have created, and this and that obj1 will again call this function display. Now let's see what happens. I enter 7, it displayed. Then it again say enter a number. I enter 6, it displays 6. So this is the functionality of the OOP, that I have created the function once. As much as many objects I will create, it will give me output. I have created this once, but I get twice the result because I have created two objects. So any questions till now related to the basic body of this OOP? Then we will see some difficult examples with that. No queries. You know what is OOP now? Can you do some real world examples with this? Okay, if you understand, should we bind our lecture here so that you can do practice by yourself? You can go use this book that I have referred you, so that you will understand, or by performing that examples, it will help you to create programs or logic by yourself. So that was all about today's lecture. We'll see in the next lecture then.